In today's video, we're going to be hardwiring in a Ring camera, but before we do, I wanted to mention that I am not an electrician, and this video is for educational purposes only. When we first moved in, there was a security camera here. It was mounted right there, and I replaced it with this Ring cam. And since I was in a hurry, I just stuffed everything back through the hole that the old security cam came through and plugged it into this outlet here, which is designed for Christmas lights. It's on a switch, and I don't like that. I want to hardwire it in, and that will be what we are doing today. So step one is going to be removing this and then trying to find that cable from the old hardwired camera in here, and we'll use that cable to pull our electrical all the way through the attic. All right, this is actually a very tough spot to get to in the attic, but I was using my nifty fingers here, feeling around, and I can actually feel the old cable laying down here. So I'm going to try to pull this out. Okay, there we go. All right, so this is the old cable. So the good news is I should be able to tape up my wire to this and try to pull it through. I think that our eave is right down in that crevice, right in the middle of the screen here. I'm just going to call that the pit of despair.
Where am I?
The pit of despair.
We are pretty far away from that, but if you see this coil of wires there in the middle, those are the old Ethernet style lines that ran the security system. All right, I should be happy because it looks like they labeled these. I do have to contest with this over here. That looks like a dirt dauber nest on the wires, which hopefully is dormant. I'll get this guy pulled and hopefully it will be attached to my wire. I'm going to try to get onto these two studs, and I may take this board and screw it to these studs so I have a nice place to stand. And then up in there, if you can see it, is where our cable is. All right, so it looks like my cable is going into that corner right there. It's very tight. It's not coming out. So I think I may drill a new hole in the eave and see if I can get a glow rod up here and just pull it straight through. This first 1-inch hole I drilled was too far to the corner, so I ended up drilling 2. Fear not, I'll patch these up later in the project. All right, that is our glow rod coming through. I guess I got lucky I didn't puncture any ducts. So I'm gonna pull this all the way and then we'll tap into an existing circuit. Back in that corner is the pit of despair. This is our new wire running from where the camera is gonna be. And then this is an outlet on a game room. So I'm gonna tap into that circuit there on that outlet, that 15 amp outlet, and that is gonna be what powers our camera. One device that I use all the time is this little outlet tester. Not only does it give you some cool information about your wiring, but it will also indicate easily and visually from a distance if that circuit is online or offline. All right, see, we are now offline. All right, I got all 3 wires coming in, connected to each other with pigtails coming off to connect to the outlet on both sides and the grounds. So I'm going to get it all shoved back into this box, which isn't hard because this is a big box. I'll attach the outlet back and we will have power going to that line out there. On the outside of the building, we'll be mounting a 4-inch round box for our camera kit to mount to. You can use a metal or plastic box here, and I opted for the metal one because it was a little bit cheaper. While I'm up on the ladder, I wanted to take a pause and patch up the other holes in the eave. I'm using these 1-inch hole plugs I found on Amazon along with some silicone around the edges. The hardware kit from Ring comes with everything you'll need for the install. I was impressed with both the build quality of the kit and the instructions provided. I advise getting your camera oriented right while on the ground since it can be a little confusing at first and you don't want to be fiddling around with it over your head. The first thing I did on this kit install was to fasten the circular spacer onto the 4-inch box. This spacer has a gasket all the way around it that's pretty thick, so you'll need to apply some pressure to get the provided screws started. I then cut my Romex and stripped the wires with my handy Klein wire stripper. I went ahead and connected the ground to the ground screw in the 4-inch metal box. I'll later be connecting the ground wire from the camera mount to the same screw. Ring provides this little hook to allow you to get the wiring done and not be under tension while doing it. I feel like this was a pretty nice touch. I stripped off a little additional length on the wires from the Ring mount and then used the wire nuts provided to make my connections. It took a minute or two, but I was able to get the ground snaked up into the 4-inch round box on the same grounding screw that the Romex ground is connected to. This may be an advantage of using a plastic box since you won't have a grounding screw to contend with and can just connect the grounds to each other. All that's left to do is to get the wires pushed up into the box and then connect the mount to the spacer with the 4 provided screws and rubber washers. I flipped the breaker back on and I was in business. I'm a big fan of these ring cams for their performance and their wide field of view, and in my opinion, a hardwired mount like this one is a nice, robust touch to the install. I hope y'all got something out of this video, and if you did, please hit that like button down below and consider subscribing to the channel. Until next time, this is Redbeard Engineered, signing off.